Hello and welcome to another deck profile on our channel. Today we are here with Torben. Torben was able to win this event. It's insane, Torben with Lucci. And Torben, how was the event?
It was amazing. I was quite a bit under stress after not performing well in London and then also losing in the store regional. And I just wanted to play for fun basically this tournament because it's so close to my home. And I chose Lucci because it's my favorite deck, and I think probably there are other decks that might be better, for example Dofi, but I just wanted to play something new that I knew was fun for me.
Yeah, and it's an open meta to make everything perfect choice, and you choose the right leader. And let's go into your deck, Torben.
Yeah, so first off, I play two Tsurus. I think it's probably a little unusual to play Navy 2Ks, but that is because you will not see any Spandines, so like these and Mansherry are my only 1-drops. And that is mainly because I don't think Spandine really searches the important cards in your deck, of course like Tempest Kick or Lucci, but I think especially against Shanks, maybe in the top card match you saw that Kuzan and Laboon are really the key cards, and you cannot search them with Spandine. So I would rather play more of these 4-drops instead of searching cards that I don't necessarily want to see.
Yeah.
So two Tsurus is just nice for 1 cost. So we'll come later. I also play Kaido, and then with Tsuru Kaido you can KO a 10 or trash a 10 cost. And Tsuru is just, you know it from Sakazuki days, it's just very nice to have.
Yeah.
Then we have Mansherries. I play 2. It also came up in a lot of my matches, just you can play Mansherry, then Rebecca and Rebecca at back Hina, and then Rebecca Hina Lucci basically. It's exactly 10 Don, and it removes a 7 cost. So that's just amazing value just from this 1 card. And I think the most important matchup for Mansherry is Shanks, because I don't really have any searchers to swing into the Mansherry, and then if they need to invest, like you saw in the final, my opponent swung 7k into this Mansherry. She gave me Rebecca back and counted, basically was 2k, 1k counter.
Yeah.
This is amazing.
Very nice.
And moving on, I play 3 Uta. This card might come as a surprise. This was 1 or 2 metas ago. Only attack for Dofi. But nowadays, without Moria, you usually rely on Rebecca Hina Lucci combos to remove stuff. And Uta just helps you a lot of times, or maybe like 6 Don or 4 Don to remove. If you play this on 2 and then on 4 Lucci, you can already shoot 5 cost. So for example, if you're against Purple Luffy and on 3 they play a 4-drop, the Zoro, and you develop this Uta, it just helps you remove something.
Yeah.
And then your opponent needs to swing into it, like they cannot ignore it. I think if they ignore it, they just lose the game because she creates too much value. So they need to get rid of it.
Yeah, very nice.
Yeah, moving on, I'm playing 3 Hina, 4 Brook for my 3 costs, and 2 Spandines.
Yeah.
So 3 Hina, as I said, ever since Moria got banned, Rebecca Hina Lucci is your new 8-Don power turn. I don't want to play 4 because she doesn't have counter. That's basically it. She doesn't have counter, and you only usually need 1 in trash. So with Lucci leader ability, you will basically always have 1 in trash. And then Brook as a 4-off. It's just, if you go first in a lot of matchups and you find this on 3, you're already in a winning spot usually. I don't necessarily like to gamble on like finding this on 3. So for example, in my final against Shanks, I went 2nd because if I don't see Brook on 3, then I might not be that well positioned anymore. But he's just amazing. You can take him back from Rebecca to KO stuff without deleting your trash, for example, for your Tempest Kick, so it stays alive. It's just amazing.
Yeah.
Then we come to Spandine. I think most people cut this card. because you don't really play Moria, Rebecca, Spandine anymore, this combo. But I decided to still run two copies of this because you don't have that many cards in your deck that KO stuff. It's mainly your good KO cards are Brook and for Lucci.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, once you play out like one Lucci and maybe your others are in trash, then you don't necessarily have anything to shoot anymore. So, for example, I'm playing also Kuzans and Laboons. And, for example, if you play Laboon, you can go like Laboon, Rebecca, Spandine, Lucci.
Yeah.
So this just gives you more consistency to be able to remove stuff.
Did the card help you in the tournament?
It came up a lot.
Yeah?
I also just casted it without Rebecca just for 3 Don because I needed a card that shot something. So it's I wouldn't cut it. It's really
Okay, nice.
Yeah, coming to our 4 drops. Again, this is also the main reason why I went second in the final against Shanks, because if you see, especially Kuzan, but also Laboon on 4, which is fine, it does generate so much value. If it stays on board, no matter what they play on 5, you can just kill it with Brook or just a Lucci from hand. And also sometimes I'm also playing 2 5-cost Sashigis that also work. So I would play 4 Kuzans and 2 Laboons, but Kuzan doesn't have a counter, and I'm already playing a lot of non-counter cards, so I wanted to keep it around like 20, 21 non-counter cards in my deck.
Yeah.
So I decided to play like a 3-3 split.
Yeah.
But I think Laboon was kind of underperforming, I would say. I maybe played him out 2 or 3 times in the tournament, otherwise it was always a 1K. But that can be his job.
Yeah.
Then moving on, we have for Lucci. I don't think there's anything to say. This is the reason why you play Lucci and no other black decks, because it allows you to clear 2 targets at once. For example, in my match against Reiju, the one you saw on stream in Swiss round, but also today in Top Cut, it was so important I was able to remove, for example, an Ichiji and at the same time the 3-cost Porsche. Yeah, so no other deck, no other black deck can play Lucci to remove 2 stuff, and a lot of times just come back from a bad board position.
Yeah.
He's just the MVP.
Nice.
Talking about MVPs, Rebecca is the second MVP. I don't think there's much to be said. I mean, I already said Rebecca, Hina, Lucci is a combo. Sometimes you can go Rebecca, Hina, Brook or Spandine, so it costs only 7 Don. I think everybody knows what Rebecca does and why she is so broken, so I don't want to talk too much about it.
Yeah.
Then we come to my other 2Ks. It's 3 Khalifa, 1 Kaku, and 4 Husu. The 4-cost Kaku didn't come up a single time, but it was just nice to sometimes have him in trash and the option. Since we're not playing Spandam, in general you're not playing that many CP targets anymore, so sometimes he usually comes up to play like from Spandine, but then you need like this in trash and 5 other CP targets, which can be like tall ask. Yeah, otherwise I'm playing Khalifa. You don't really play her out on 4 anymore because you have Kuzan, Laboon, Lucci, Rebecca, Brook or something, or even like Uta. So you basically never play her out. But the one time I played her out this tournament was in Swiss round against the Bonnie that I lost to. And yeah, I lost because I had to play out Khalifa. I didn't have anything in hand and just bricked. So yeah, she's just cool 2K. Also, all these are removable from trash with Rebecca, which is nice. And then I'm playing for Husu. This card I don't think I played it out a single time, but it won me my top 4 match. No, my semifinals. Because this trigger, on trigger it KOs is 3-drop or less. And it came up against Reiju where I could trigger to KO the Porsche. And then also against Zoro it can come up to remove a 3-drop. The reason I'm playing 4 of this instead of like the cost reducers is we have so many cost reducers with Laboon, Kuzan, Uta, Hina, even Tsuru.
Yeah.
So The worst that can happen is you have too much cost reduction in hand and no shooters. That's why I play Usu. But again, he's like inefficient.
Very good trigger.
Yep. Then I'm playing 2 Tashigi. This card, I mean, you saw it in the final come up because it doesn't have an on play because this is leader locked to Smoker. But you can still use the activate main effect to trash something. And yeah, it came up in the final because you can do -4 on Lucky Roo and then trash with Tashigi, and the Lucky Roo doesn't KO anything from you. But honestly, I think this only comes up when the Shanks isn't finding their curve. So if they usually like Tashigi comes up when you play on 4, like let's say Kuzan, and on 5 instead of the Luffy they play Lucky Roo. Then on 6 you want to play Tashigi, but this is usually like a spot where your opponent already didn't find their curve, so I didn't play it for her, for the Shanks matchup or any other matchup, it's just for Blackbeard.
Yeah.
Maybe if I needed to change something for next tournament, I would cut these to Tsuru and play to Toy Soldier instead. So Toy Soldier, lead ability Tashigi can trash a Jesus.
Oh, yeah?
But yeah, I'm not... If you want to be able to play into BB, you probably have to play this also with Toy Soldiers. Otherwise, even in my one game against Blackbeard, I didn't even see her. So at worst, she's a 1K, which is fine. I'm playing 1 Sabo. It's just nice to have this option. He didn't actually come up any time in my tournament. But just having him in trashed, and then if you can't remove something, just being able to go Rebecca Sabo on 9 or on 10 Don. It's just nice to survive one more round and basically say, okay, you can't kill me this round, and next round I can kill you.
Yeah.
And he's amazing in like the mirror, but I didn't face mirror, you don't see many Lucci, so yeah.
Maybe in the future.
Maybe. After today.
Yeah.
I'm playing 3 Kaidos as my top end. You might notice there's no Jack. I initially intended to play 3 Jack instead of 3 Kaido, and then instead of the Tashigis, a 4th Kuzan and I think the 2nd Sabo. But then I saw a rant from El Nino on Twitter and he completely trashed Jack. I didn't have that much time to test this deck before the tournament because...
Shout out to El Nino.
Sorry?
Shout out to El Nino.
Yeah, shout out to El Nino. I took his list as a base, what I went off from.
Very nice.
Yeah, again, I just basically copied his opinion on like Kaido instead of Jack. I didn't really want to test it because I was stressed out from London and didn't want to play too much.
Yeah.
But this, of course, it's like very important against BB. So I faced 1 BB in Swiss, and I was able to play Kaido on 9 and then Kaido again on 11, or on the next round, and that basically won me the game because my opponent needs to trash 2 cards in hand. If they play 10 Rob, they also want to lead ability, so you can't go like Tempest Kick, Rebecca, Hina, Lucci to remove their 10 cost. And then they just run out of cards in hand with your Kaido plays.
Very nice.
It's also good against Shanks because if you go first and then on 8 they play Rayleigh and you answer on 9 with Kaido, it's very nice. You just have this big body on board that sticks.
Yeah.
Otherwise, yeah, I didn't want to play more Kuzans because Kaido, it's a non-counter in other matchups besides Shanks and BB. He doesn't really come up. And it's difficult to get him out of your hand without like Sabo or Khalifa, but you don't really want to play this out.
Yeah.
So that's why you need to be a little careful, especially when you're not running Jack to cycle non-counters out of hand, to not run too many bricks in your deck. Then let's move on to the spells. Again, I don't really think I need to say anything about for Tempest Kick. It's just an amazing card. I think it has a lot of like skill potential where you need to calculate 1 or 2 rounds ahead if you will have enough trash size to play Tempest Kick. And a lot of times that's why, like for example, Brook is really nice because if you play Lucci early on too many times, you won't have a trash to activate Tempest Kick. And then the trigger is also Chaos Recourse, just like with Who, which can come up.
Strong.
I'm also playing 2 finger pistols. This is mostly again against Shanks and BB. It comes up. I felt especially that Laboon was a little lacking also in testing. But with finger gun, just Laboon finger gun for 8 removes the 10 drop no matter what. And then this is an answer for like against BB against their 10 drop, because this is not on play. You just KO it and say, okay, if you don't have a second or third BB, 10 cost BB, then you are okay. And yeah, the trigger is of course game winning. I had actually one game against Rage and Top Cut where this was my first live and I didn't trigger it because I had a Brook on board and only Rebecca, Hina in my hand for next round. So it's funny that I got the trigger but I didn't activate it. But of course, if you see it, it's game winning in live. And it can also just sometimes come up. For example, Rebecca, Hina, finger pistol removes also 10 drop. It's like this panic button. You just remove something. The only downside is you're not developing your own body. So usually, I was really a hater of this card, but then in this meta, especially with Laboons, I accepted that you have to run some copies of it.
Yeah,
that's the
list. That's the deck list. And at the next step, you have any combos that helps you in the tournament a lot that you remember?
So I already mentioned it before, like with Mansherry, you go Mansherry, Rebecca, Hina, Lucci. That's a deck exactly 10 don, where you just remove 7 drop, right? And then if you have an Uta on board, you remove a 9 drop. It's just amazing. This is really something to look out for. With Mansherry, maybe you should be careful to not play her out too early in matches, because sometimes you don't know. I don't know if I need her for counter, for example. So I don't want to just put her on board and then I cannot take it back, and sometimes she doesn't come up.
Yeah.
Or for example, if your opponent plays a lot of searchers. So for example, I had a spot where I played against Purple Luffy and they opened with 2 law searchers. And then, okay, I don't want to play this Mansherry because she will get removed for free. I might just as well counter for her if I don't need her later on. Yeah, that's usually it. I think that was the main combo.
Yes, thank you for the combo. And that's the list, that was the combo. And at the end, you have any shoutouts?
Yeah, so as I said, El Nino doesn't even know I took this list from him, but shoutouts to El Nino. The list really inspired me. I think the community, the Lucci community, is usually very close on like how this list should look.
Yeah.
I think El Nino ran 2 Spandines instead of these 3 Utas, but I really want to fit Utas. Then also, I think he ran 4 Kuzans and a third Mansherry, and I put in these 2 finger pistols.
Yeah.
So that's the list I went off of. Otherwise, shoutouts to my friends, especially Jan, Limited Skip. He's a great friend, and I had to face him in semifinals. Yeah, it's just amazing. I always enjoy when I meet him at tournaments. We live so close by, so yeah.
Very
Otherwise,
cool.
I also want to shout out Kurashi. Maybe you know him from some other events.
From NCL as well?
Yeah, of course. He helped me with the matchup, like deciding if I should go first or second. So, for example, in my final, my opponent was playing a very control-heavy Shanks, but he didn't play Marco or Ace.
Yeah.
And that's why I decided basically to go second, and I asked him for his advice because, again, with like Kuzan Laboon, if he doesn't have an unremovable body, it's probably better to go second. And yeah, it's just nice to have always a second opinion on a deck and any choice.
Yeah, very nice. I like it that the community is close.
Yes.
And yes, special and like who talk about Italy, like Germany and some other countries, but it's very cool in my eyes. Very cool. I like it. Yeah, that is the deck profile. Thank you, Torben. And congratulations for winning this event.
Thank you.
You make the list perfect. And see you next time. Bye.